Welcome to Everyday Torah. My name's Traver. I've got Brent with me today. I wanted to do a podcast with Brent because we met, I think it's been maybe like a year ago-ish. What do you think, Brent?
About a year, yeah.
Okay, it's been probably about a year. And, one of the things that I have appreciated about Brent is both his maturity in the Lord, but also, if you haven't noticed yet, he's a little bit younger than me. So I think sometimes in messianic stuff or even Yeshua stuff, a lot of times we see a lot of older people, but there is young people. In other words, not this thing isn't just for older people. Now I got to tell you, Brent, before we get your story, I do find that older people do know some things, and I think what happens is I think a lot of the older folks have read the scriptures enough that they have started to understand that following Yeshua requires obedience, and the question becomes obedience to what? And I think a lot of older people are willing to accept that, but there's younger people too, for sure. So anyway, hey, I'm really glad to have you on, and just maybe you could just tell what we met a year ago, but how did you and I meet?
Yeah. Well, I had seen Everyday Torah on YouTube, and I'd watched some of your videos. Your Mark 7 video about unclean food not being food. That was one thing that I had watched. And then I had submitted a video for your counting the Omer thing. And we had kind of connected there. And then I'd reached out to you because me and my sister and brother-in-law, who we all came in this kingdom walk together, had been going through some stuff. And I emailed you like, hey, like, I'm thinking, man, this is shot in the dark. This dude's like a YouTuber, probably not going to see my message, email, but shot you an email like, hey, do you think you'd be open to like giving us some advice sometime or just some guidance? And then you've put up with me since then. So
I wouldn't put you in the put up with category, but I totally get what you're saying. So maybe you're not with me, obviously. Maybe tell us where are you now? How'd you get there? I mean, your location. How'd you get there? And I think that if you could parlay that into a little bit of, did you always do like Torah stuff, or did you know Yeshua like when you were younger? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Dad had always raised us to really question the church system and to question things and to hunger for more. And he always taught us that there was always more, to never be content with just what we saw, to just keep going for more. So Dad did a lot of music ministry growing up. We did a lot of nursing home ministry. We moved around quite a bit. I was born in Tennessee, but we moved about every 2-ish years. Just my dad is in the film industry, and as well as just different business opportunities. So we were always just kind of moving around and experiencing different spiritual atmospheres. And dad has always been a kind of out of the system, sort of rogue kind of guy. So we were always raised to really try to walk in as much discernment as we could. And so back in 2015, we came down to Belize on a tweet plane ticket. We were living in Atlanta at that time. We came down here and just experienced the different like youth groups in this area and the different people. And we were about a week into it, and we're at this dairy place, and at this restaurant. Dad's like, so how do you guys like it here? We're like, yeah, it's cool. I'm 18 at this time, so this is 2015, about 7.5 years ago. I'm 25. So Dad's like, how do you guys like it here? And we're like, yeah, it's a pretty cool place. And he ends up canceling our return flight without even telling us. And we never go back to the States. And we've been here ever since. And it's pretty much, I was living American Christianity at that time. I was addicted to pornography. I had masturbation issues. I had a filthy mind. I was pretty messed up, but honestly, I was about the same as my other peers that were just in American Christianity, which kind of shows the demise and the corruption of my generation and where it's at, or where it was at. And so being here, we just got connected with the different churches here and got, pretty much it was that, with seeking the Father just on my own, like in my room every morning. I remember waking up and and life was so tough here. It was so difficult. Living here is very hard. And so every morning I'd like seek. I didn't really have much of a relationship with God in the States, but I just would like wake up and I felt like something up there was calling me to him. And I would just be like, okay, I just need you. Like, I want to know you, help me, just kind of that innocent, pure, simple seeking him. And started journaling and slowly I had a little devotional book and then slowly started getting in the Bible. I thought the Bible was just for moms and dads, just old people. But just kind of started developing a relationship with him. And he just set a fire within me just to know him and completely eradicated. About a year later, I noticed, or a year and a half after being here, I'm like, man, I'm not addicted to porn anymore. Somehow it just left. The desire just left. My desires changed. And I noticed, man, I'm not thinking the same way. So yeah, that totally changed. And then we had been here. Yeah, I had been involved in different leadership positions and like youth conference and just different creative stuff. And then about 2019, Dad did an event. We did an event here called Counterculture, which was kind of focusing on the next 60 years of our community and where it would go spiritually. And from that, someone came up to my dad and was like, hey, what's the next step after this event? So Dad and this person kind of started a group, and then that didn't work out. And then he's like, hey, you and you young people, meaning me and my sister, and then my brother-in-law and my girlfriend at that time. He's like, hey, you guys should study with these people. And we're like, okay, sure. Like Dad had always given us really crazy ideas in the past. And my dad and mom have always just been really great, as far as guidance spiritually. And so we're like, okay, cool, we'll do it. So we just jump into this and just start doing Bible studies, mentoring sessions every Wednesday with this kind of group. These two people over in the next village over that are from Canada and from the States. And little did we know they're in, the kingdom, and they're in Torah and the Shabbat and the feast days. And so yeah, I don't know if you want me to start going into that.
Well, I have a couple of questions. I think first of all, when your dad is teaching you to question everything, is he something he's verbally telling you? Is it just something he modeled, or is it kind of both, or how did that work?
Yeah, he modeled it mainly, but would teach us as well. He never forced it, but yeah, he would definitely call out the way that churches were not honoring the Father, and just kind of the apostate American lukewarm church.
Okay, and then when you're down in Belize and you discover that there is no return ticket, is this something that makes your heart happy? Are you confused? Are you sad at that time? What did that feel like?
Yeah, dude. Okay, honestly, like I said, we'd grown up traveling a bunch, and it had sort of just been like whenever Dad and Mom say, hey, we're going to go somewhere else, we had just, okay, cool, let's do it. So moving to Belize was just another one of those things where it was like moving to another state in a sense, except it was just a lot harder and hotter and, different language and all that stuff and a lot more bugs. But like, I really credit it all to the Father, just Yahweh, because like I was in my junior year of high school that year. I did a dual enrollment my senior year down here, and I had opportunities that I could have pursued in the States that would have made me money. And I had buddies that were, going to college or making money online and stuff like that. I did a lot of social media growing up. And I let that go and just kind of immersed myself fully in here, doing like farm ranch work and just being around the culture and the people and stuff. So, I was just down for the adventure,
Okay. So you're there. Seems like you're okay with being there, and sister, okay too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, so you're working with these youth groups, and then you find a group, and I'm guessing at the time you were unsuspecting that they included Torah stuff, the feast days and so forth, with tying that with obedience. Was that like new for you at that time?
Yeah. So I remember the first time we met, like they were talking about the Sabbath and how it was relevant for today. And I was like, well, I just piped right up and like, well, hold up. Like if that's like relevant for today, why have all my years, so I've never heard about it? Or why all these Christian leaders throughout all of history, why have they never talked about it? Like, why is it just you guys that are getting this revelation? Like what's going on over here kind of thing. Who do you think you are? Like, what is this? Yeah. I question
you
it.
at this time.
This was 2019. So this is 3.5 years ago. So I was 22, 21 and a half.
Okay. So, you're questioning, and I'm sure whoever it is you're questioning is like, okay, he's a little bit young. And were they gentle with you? I mean, did they?
Very.
Oh, that's
extremely
nice.
Wise. It's yes, so much wisdom and allowing the Holy Spirit to convict me and my sister, my brother-in-law, just presenting things and not pushing, and just an incredible time learning.
So what was it for you then? Did it end up seeing like they showed you in scripture, like we need to be observing the Sabbath? I don't know. Did you grow up doing like Christmas and Easter stuff, those types of things?
Yeah, so we did grow up doing that, but dad and mom were not like strict on it, like sold out on it. And we always grew up with like Judeo-Christian values, whereas dad had been to Israel, and we had a great uncle who lived in Israel. And mom would like talk about, Jewish things every now and then. So we weren't like, we didn't have our heels in the sand as far as it. And we were always kind of just down to do crazy things. Which is like, okay, well, Torah is just the next thing that seems right. It's crazy, right? But
that is a good question or a good point. Here you are. You seem like a guy like, all right, you're gonna take me to Antarctica. All right, I'll do that. Maybe a little bungee jumping here. Oh yeah, Torah over here. Let's do Torah. How is Torah then not just another bungee jump, another thing that's interesting or different? I mean, because I wouldn't put it in the same category, and neither would you, because I know you. But at the same time, at the time, did you know that it was like, okay, there's something deeply profound about me walking in this way, or was it just the next exciting thing? And it's okay at the time. Maybe that was different for you. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, what had happened was, so I came in, so we started doing Bible studies in July of 2019. And what had happened that previous January, the church I was a part of, I was let off leadership, and I was in a place of like, okay, Father, do you want me to stay at this church? I'm not a church hopper. I don't like that idea. I want to stay committed somewhere. And so I stuck through it January to July, and then we started Bible studies, and I knew that they were meeting up on Shabbats, this group that we were doing Bible studies with. And so I just, my sister and I were talking. She's like, what if you just stop going to your church and just go to, just do something different, or go to Shabbat or something, or this place? And I was like, okay, I'll just do it. And so August, I just decided one Sabbath to go to this thing. And at this point, I was living, my sister was about to get married, and I was kind of living alone, because some of my siblings were in the States, and then dad and mom were in the States at this time. They've been back and forth. So it was kind of just an easy hop there. And I just, honestly, like, it was perfect. It was just such a hungry atmosphere. And I was like, man, this is just right. It wasn't something where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my heels in the sand here, and this is where I'm going to stay for the next, 25 years. It was like, whoa, like, this is legit. Like, it was just before Sukkot, and I remember watching Jim Staley videos on Sukkot, and like, it was like every week was something new and something different. Like I couldn't stop taking pictures of the TV, these slides that Jim Staley would have. And like, I'm like freaking out over this stuff, and I think a lot of it was just like being raised with being hungry for something different, being open to something different. And then I think just that fire for the Father, that pure passion that he had instilled in me when I first started seeking him in 2015, when I got here, and then just all that stuff mixed together, that just kind of fueled this fire for more.
Okay. So I can just see you taking pictures of the TV screen or whatever it is you're doing. You're obviously excited about it. I think I'd like to hear a little bit about what has it been like for you to do the feast days? And if you can remember all this, I'd like to know have you faced any, I don't know, maybe persecution, like people like telling you you're nuts or anything like that? And I'll remember for you if you don't remember. I want to know, what would you say to your age group? People who are either lukewarm on the fence or whatever it is. What would you say to them? So I guess I'll go back to question number one. I mean, what have the feast days, eating kosher, things like that? What's it meant to you?
Yeah.
Besides the word everything. I mean, I know you're learned, right? But who cares? Why do you
Yeah.
care?
Okay, so when we first started doing Bible studies there, and on like Wednesday nights, and first started going Shabbats, it was like I realized, man, like Christianity, if you want to call it, or what I've grown up with, it's always been like, it's never been something I can almost grasp or something I can put my hands on. I just remember like, this is so real. Like this is a lifestyle. Like I kept thinking about that like this is real. And one thing too, I remember that growing up in church, I never understood where we were in history. Like, I don't mean like, oh, Jesus is coming back tomorrow kind of thing, not like setting dates, but like whenever you go to church, I had never been in an atmosphere where they're talking about what's happened before, what's happening, and what's going to happen. It was just like, okay, love your neighbor, or like, this is a motivational speech, or like, this is what happened way long ago with Israel. Now we're the church. It like being in that atmosphere there and learning the kingdom, it was like, whoa, this is real. Like it places me in it. Like I felt like this is something I could be a part of. Like finally it became real,
Yeah. So my assumption is when you're talking about when you do Passover, you are now in the story. When you're doing unleavened bread and getting the yeast out of your house, you're now in the story. Is that kind of what you're describing?
Kind of, yeah. And just like not just the feast days, but the whole shebang, like the whole word, like just learning it from a kingdom or Torah perspective, just like it made it all real, like everything just was like whoa.
Huh. Okay. Now, how about persecution? Have you faced any of that? And I mean, I guess I have in some sense. Most of it has been silent persecution where people just distance themselves from me because I'm a law pusher. But what's it been like for you?
Yeah, I've been so persecuted. They've stared at my seats, and that's just social persecute. No, I'm just kidding.
That might be it. I mean, I don't know.
No. No, I mean, I feel like I've really been spared. I feel like I get out of situations before they get to that point. Was kind of dodging things. I mean, I know that I think people that used to hang out with me don't hang out with me anymore. Or I think more so in the community that I'm in, there's more like Mennonites, and so they might see what I do is being like going back to law or bondage, right? So maybe just sort of distancing because they're unsure what to do with it, and they don't want to get back under something that they came out of, which is very understandable. So I haven't received a lot of persecution in the sense of in that sense. I feel like that more so happens with maybe more the American church or just a larger religious establishment, because here in this area we have a lot of heartfelt, like solid people that are just unaware of the fullness of the Torah and all that. So
okay. So then I don't know, what are you observing down in Brazil? Is it a lot of young people doing this? Is it just some? Is there a lukewarm factor that happens with younger people in your area? I guess what would you say to people that are kind of on the fence with regard to Yeshua and giving their whole selves to the kingdom?
mm-hmm. Yeah. There's definitely, here in Belize, there's definitely people that are, there's definitely young people my age that are hungry and that are open to it. I think the biggest enemy that we have is the church system, and is Christianity as the religious establishment of it, in the sense that, and in the sense that it creates security and it creates a false comfort. So when we were completely shut down here for COVID back from parts of 2020 to 2021 for different periods of time. Church was like completely shut down, as it was in some other parts of the world, in the States and some areas. But I remember during that time, we were so pumped, like me and my kind of friend group, or, people that we were with. We were just like, man, like, this is awesome. Like, I'm thinking, okay, Father, you're weaning the believers off of the church system. And this is the opportunity for them to hunger for something more. This is the opportunity to say, okay, you know what, there's more. And I feel like it didn't quite happen the way that I wanted to happen. I was, because there were some people that did small groups and stuff like that, but and we did some things, but it didn't really have that. People didn't, weren't fully weaned off of the system, and it wasn't. And then when late 2021, the lockdowns were lifted and people just went back to it, kind of the lackadaisical, drug in a sense. So I would say that's our biggest enemy, is just young people like feeling content and satisfied with sort of an American influence of religion that's not the kingdom. But yeah, there definitely are young people in this area that are hungry for more. Yeah.
So when you say American church, so are you just saying more like Western church, and that's infiltrated down into the Brazil area? So there's some of those types of things. Is that what you mean? All right. Next thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Some clarification here. So
Sure.
Before you started doing Torah stuff, were you a believer or not a believer?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were a believer and you had a genuine relationship with our Messiah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So,
Yes.
I guess what you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, because I want to try to figure this out. As you say, church system, you and I both know, I think, I was in church system too. I started a church with the Baptist General Conference. These are good people. They really do love the Lord. I don't discount that at all. The only thing that I do differently is that I have a very concrete thing that I am to obey, that I might walk in the ways of our Messiah, and it glorifies Messiah in the way that our Messiah wants to be glorified. So I'm trying to figure out, at least from your mind, when you're saying church system, what do you mean? What do you mean exactly? And maybe you don't know exactly. These are hard things to put words to. I get that. What do you mean by it, though?
Yeah. So I would, maybe I'll describe it this way: is you have religion and then you have the kingdom. And the way I see it is that religion is anything else that is not the pure, unadulterated word of God, that's not his instructions, that's not his ways, whether we're adding to his ways or whether we're subtracting to it, or whether it's even something that looks like it, but it's counterfeit or it's a different flavor. And then so you have religion, and then you have kingdom, which is purity. And I've not arrived there yet. I'm on the path of learning more about what that kingdom looks like. But the church system is a part of religion, because it's apart from originally what the Father had created, not just in the way that the Father's date nights, his appointed times, his feast days and Shabbat and all that are not being observed, but just even the whole structure of it too is just, it fosters, I in my opinion, it doesn't nurture and foster the giftings like it really should, and community, community effort, as far as people being involved and people utilizing their callings and their giftings. So it can easily create a complacent, lackadaisical flow.
So maybe you've never had this experience. Have you ever had anyone accuse you of trying to put yourself back under the law? Or
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
All right. So how do you respond in that situation?
I've never felt more free.
Say it again.
I've never felt more free.
Oh, free. Oh, that's what you tell them. You tell them you've never felt more free.
I don't know if
you're doing Torah stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would say. I don't know what I have said in those situations.
Okay, well, I
But,
mean, I would say that too, but I know why I would say it. Why would you say that?
well, because I feel like I know what the Father wants. Like I know His desires, and not that like, oh, I'm some, I hear from God and I'm like some amazing on top of the hill, getting revelation. Not like that, but like the Word is just coming alive, and I'm like, I'm getting broken over it, and I'm getting to know what His heart is, and it's like, well, it's freedom because I don't have to walk in sin. I don't have to walk in things like I save so much time in life too. It's so productive. Like I get so much more done because I'm not wasting all my time doing all this other junk that doesn't please Him. Whether it's Torah stuff or just other things. Like it's not all just the Shabbat and the feast days. It's like the whole shebang. So yeah.
So, here we are. It is April 2nd, 2023. We have Passover right around the corner. We have unleavened bread, first fruits. Just for my listeners here, you're doing all this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then who are you doing it with?
Well, that's actually, it's fun. We've had every year it's been different, just kind of the journey, the path of like fumbling around, doing it wrong and just learning how to do it and stuff. So still on that path. But this year we're doing Passover with kind of a very intimate group because it is more of a covenant. Passover is more of a covenant night, but unleavened bread, which is this coming Wednesday to the next Wednesday, 7 days. We're doing we're calling it Restoration, Slavery to Freedom. Pretty much coming out of Egypt, and we're doing like a 7-day set like every night we're doing gatherings here in our local community. And just renting out a wooded area where we're inviting people to do worship and speak, certain people that really have a heart for the kingdom. And yeah, we're just going to do ministry and prayer time and the Word, try to just, invest the Father's kingdom ways, his instructions, just the Word from a kingdom biblical perspective, put that out there, and then do ministry, try and pray for people, see people set free, hopefully see some demons casted out, or some restoration, or people set free from generational curses, or just whatever, or just hear from the Father. So
I know the answer to this. However, I wanted to hear it from you. Do you do Easter and Christmas?
Yeah, as much as I eat pork and vulture. No,
okay, so wait, no, you're being sarcastic then.
I am being sarcastic. No, I don't.
Yeah, so you don't. And then how would you describe this part? Because I've heard this, I don't know, from various people in various ways, that somehow the emphasis now becomes on Torah and not on Jesus, not on Yeshua. So have you noticed in your life that somehow your focus has gone off of Yeshua and now it's on, doing all this law stuff? Or how would you describe that? Is it more about law for you? Is it about Yeshua for you? Are you less in love, or what? What's that look like?
No, man, I'm more in love with him. I mean, I think like, I know this may sound like really kind of we are out there, but if we just relax and just chill and like allow the Father to do his work in us and just reveal himself and reveal Yeshua, and just like, as long as you're just staying engaged and we're just responding, like, oh man, he will blow our mind. So like I had August of 2019, I came into Torah, into this walk, and then 2021, I'd been dating this girl, and great godly girl, and then the Father had we wanted to get married, and the Father just pretty much revealed, hey, let the relationship go, let her go. And so that was very difficult. 2021, end of 2021, and it was right before Sukkot, and Sukkot is all about the marriage supper of the Lamb. Us is the bride becoming ready, wanting to marry the bridegroom Yeshua. And I remember one night, actually, I was in this room here, and I was watching a Jim Staley video, and then I just got this over the next like few days, as we were at the beginning of Sukkot, I just started getting these revelations where Yeshua was just, where the Father pretty much revealing Yeshua to me, and in such an intimate time that I needed it, because I'd given up my girlfriend that we've been dating for years, and And he just really came through and was like, hey, are you willing to give up this temporary marriage for an eternal one, with Yeshua? And man, I grew so intimate with Father during that time with Yeshua. And so and just even in this last period of my life, this last season, I've just been getting to know who really Yeshua is according to, his Father's instructions, really what his heart is, what he did in the New Testament, and how it's not, he didn't come to abolish anything or do anything new or crazy. He came literally just to obey his Father and love his Father. And so I think, he is the Word made flesh, as John 1:1 says. And if we give the Father a chance and we really stay engaged with him, he will, like Yeshua said, I'll manifest myself to them. Like he wants to give us a revelation of who he is. So this walk just draws us closer to him, honestly, if we keep him, if we hunger for it. It's all about what we want. The ball is in our court.
Well, for our fact checkers, we know that you meant John 1:1, then John 1:14. That's where the Word becomes flesh. You know that.
Thank you.
It's okay. I have some practical questions about your life, but before I ask you about the practical things, like what in the world do you do for a living? I don't know. In Brazil, do you go to college and all that stuff? Now, let's set that aside just for a moment. Any last things just on your relationship with Yeshua about walking in Torah that you just, this video is going to be around a while. So what do you want to tell anyone who might come across this particular interview and you just want to say, hey, I really want you to know this?
Yeah. I think I go back to like how I finished the last thing, is that the ball is in our court. Like if we want Yeshua to be at the focus, if we want a deeper revelation of Yeshua, then he will give that to us. If we try to, we can create religion out of Christianity, out of living listening to Bethel and new, having this whole idea of like freedom and out of bondage and just intimate with the Father, whatever. Like we can create a religion out of that, or we can go and become Seventh-day Adventists and create a religion out of that, or we can go and celebrate the feast days and slaughter lambs and create, like we can create a religion out of anything. But if we truly like hunger to know his ways and to walk according to his instructions, and we want to be obedient to him, and like we stay on this path of like wanting to know Yeshua and wanting to honor him as our king and really obey him and seek him, like he will do it. Like we just got to stay engaged. We just got to stay obedient,
Hey, well, before I ask you the next questions, if you're an older person watching this, look at the younger generation, people falling in love with Yeshua, walking in Yeshua's ways. It's pretty neat to see. Hey, so Brent, you're 25. You live in Brazil. What is life like there? Do you work? Is college an aspiration in your age group? What do you do? How do you eat? Do your parents support you? What's going on?
I hunt. No, I don't. Belize, by the way. I'm in Belize.
What did I say?
Brazil, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
A few letters different.
Yeah.
But we're actually, Brazil is farther from the States than, we are from the States. But, okay. So what do we do, or what do I do? So we have cattle. We live next to a Mennonite community, which is, where a lot of our friend group is, which is where we're doing this event and stuff. We're in a Spanish village, which is awesome. But yeah, we do pretty much my main thing is like, well, not my main thing. I do a lot of different things, but like cattle. And then we also had Airbnbs, which turned more into long-term rentals after COVID. So I managed those, which I love. I love meeting with people and design. And I've been also, since I was 14, 15, somewhere around there, 16, I've been in social media. So I started different like Twitter and Twitter and Instagram accounts, and then kind of grew those and started one about tiny houses and started blogging, and that just shot up. And so I was close to about 1 million followers, and I was able to
wait, 1 million? 1 million?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. that it's a whole testimony with that too. So that's, yeah.
My dream for you is that you'd have 1 million followers on something in relation to Yeshua and the kingdom.
Yeah, let's go.
I know it doesn't quite sell like tiny houses and that kind of, mystique, living off the land stuff. It's not, if I were to start a social media thing on veganism, I'd probably get a lot of followers, but the Torah isn't quite that kind of sell. But I hope it for you. I hope that you'll be able to, not for your glory, not for that, but for the kingdom. And that's good. Thank you so much for sharing with everybody, and that you would even, on video come and share some of your struggles and your journey, and allowing people to see that there are people in your age group too that can read the scriptures for themselves and are doing stuff to obey. And you don't need a bunch of older people around. And not to discredit older people, I know you appreciate us. Okay, and I put me in that category, but you're doing it, and you're seeking to be faithful to your Savior, your King, in your context. And for that, I'm really, really grateful. I'm just happy to know you and learn from you, and that's been a good relationship. So if you don't know this, but Brent and I have started to meet monthly, just to encourage each other. I get to pour into Brent's life a little bit, but he also pours into mine. If you're an older person and you are walking with our Messiah, it's a two-way street. Brent, you know about this about me. I haven't arrived either, and I get encouragement from you, and you will have insights on occasion. It's kind of like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way before. So thank you. And if you would extend my hello to your sister and brother-in-law. And you never know, maybe they'll watch this and I just say hi myself. Hey, love you both. All right. I think that's about it for today. Any last comments before we go?
The king is coming, so we got to learn his ways.
That's right. Hey, in fact, that's a good way to leave, Brent. Everybody knows that if you're a regular viewer of this particular channel, being in love with Yeshua is the number one thing. But when you're in love, you want to know what you do with your time. And we want to do things that exalt our Savior, our Messiah, Yeshua. He's given that in his commandments, statutes, and judgments. We call that Yahweh's instruction, or the Torah. And we want to walk in that every day of our lives. And that's why we call it Everyday Torah. Thanks, Brent. We'll see you next time.